Welcome to this latest version of the No Ticket Required Waterrnans Film Club. My name is John Davis and I'm the tutor in contemporary film and theatre at Morley College. What an interesting choice you've made this time. Fruitvale Station, released in 2013, was a critical success, but had a limited box office release in the UK, so it's good to be able to catch up with it. And it's interesting for two big reasons. Firstly, it was the first feature of the talented Ryan Coogler, who's become Hollywood gold with Black Panther. And secondly, because it highlighted the issues that have made Black Lives Matter a political force in the US and the world. Some say that to be creative you should start by talking about what you know, and Coogler, as the black child of the San Francisco Bay Area, was affected by the story that he tells in the film. Fruitvale Station reconstructs real events that happened on New Year's Day 2009 when a policeman shot dead Oscar Grant III. The officer was subsequently found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. And the death led to demonstrations and civil unrest. I'll leave you to do your own research on what happened, but Coogler's film attempts to show a realistic version of the events, warts and all. So let's have a look at the trailer.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Shots fired at Fruitvale.
We're just trying to get home.
What is going on?
Next stop, Fruitvale Station.
You're gonna go to Frisco, right? See the fireworks?
Yeah. You ain't gonna say bye?
Bye.
Love you too.
Everything's changing around me, and I wanna change.
Hey, what's up, girl?
It's now or never.
I'm trying to get back on my feet. I really need this job.
I hired somebody
I
else.
feel different today.
What'd you do today?
I don't know what else to say.
Thought I could start over fresh, but it ain't working out.
It's now or never.
I'm scared. I hear guns.
Those just firecrackers. You're safe inside.
What about you, Daddy?
We'll be back before you wake up. I'm gonna be fine.
You guys got plans for the night?
I meet up with the fellas, head out to the city.
Why don't you take the train out there? That way you guys can hang out and not have to worry about anything.
Hey, Oscar.
How are you?
I'm good. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Oscar?
Year.
Oscar from Pharmacia?
Get off the train now! Put that phone in it.
Where you at? Are you still on the train?
We still at Fruitvale.
Why can't you tell me what is going on? What is the problem? What did you do? Oh my God.
I'm good. We're gonna be good.
It's now or never. It's now or never.
Coogler was born in 1986 in Oakland, which is a suburb just north of San Francisco, where his mum was a community organiser and his father a probation officer. He was good at school, but excelled at American football and won scholarships to university. He had thought he was going to become a doctor to, as he said, help make a difference, but one encounter with a teacher at college changed his life forever.
She assigned us an assignment, which was you know, tell me about your most emotional experience you've ever had in your life. I want you to write about it in prose and then turn it in. And I wrote about mine. I didn't think much about it. I did it honestly. If I would have been thinking, I probably wouldn't have written about what I wrote about. You know what I mean? But I turned it in, and I was in my dorm room hanging out with a bunch of my football teammates and people from my neighborhood, and I got a call from her on my dorm phone, and she's like, "Hey, you know, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm in the dorms," and she's like, "I need you to come down to my office immediately. It's about your assignment." So I'm like, Jesus Christ. So, and I'm like, man, why did I write about that? You know, so I kick everybody out of my dorm, like, I gotta go. And then I walk down to her office, and I'm just imagining, like, you know, I got an overactive imagination. I'm imagining, like, open up the door and it's like the police and And you know, and I don't even know if college has a dean of discipline, but my high school did. So it's like the dean of discipline at the school, and it's her, and I'm going for this horrible meeting, and I open up the door and I go in, and it's just her. You know, she's like, sit down. so I go walk over and I sit down across from her like I'm sitting down with Eugene right now, and she's like looking at me. You know those uncomfortable silences. She's like looking at me, and I'm looking back. You know what I mean? And she says, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I'm like, "Man, this is terrible. Like this is gonna be like." You know, so I tell her I want to be a doctor, you know, and she's like, why? And like where I come from, if you tell somebody you want to be a doctor when you grow up, nobody asks you why. You know what I mean? They're like, great. That's awesome. You know what I mean? And she was like, why? And I was like, nobody ever asked me. So I'm like, why do I want to be a doctor? And then I was like, oh, I'm good at math and science, and I figured you should use that if you're good at it, and what better way to use it than to help people? You know, I figure doctors can make money honestly and help people while you're doing it. Be a good, positive influence on the community. You know, what's wrong with being a doctor? And she was like, And then she grabbed my paper and she looked at it and she said, well, I read your paper, and it was really visual. You know, while I was reading it, I felt like I was there. And she said that's actually arguably rarer than being good at math or science. And you should consider being a writer. You know, you can do the same things you're talking about, but maybe even on a bigger level. You should maybe even consider going to Hollywood and writing screenplays, is what she said. So I was completely weirded out at that moment. And I'm like, this lady.
What did you think when she told you?
I thought she was crazy. like I didn't even know what a screenplay was. You know what I mean? And I remember looking at her, and she had all these books behind her. Like she had this wall of books. And I remember I got ADD, so I remember being like insanely jealous, because she had so many books. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, I like books. You know, why don't I have any books? You know? I come back to that. but she said, I think you should, think about even writing screenplays. And I said, so, I was thinking she was crazy. So I'm like, wait, so I'm not in trouble? And she's like, no, why would you be in trouble? And I was like, all right, cool. So I was like, are you? And I'm like, I gotta get out of this crazy book lady's office. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, are we all good here? She's like, yeah, that's fine. I just want to talk to you about that. Just think about it. So I'm like, cool. So I left, and I went back to my dorm room, and my dorm room was empty. And I was like, man, that was the weirdest conversation I ever had in my life. And I didn't even know what a screenplay was. I never seen one, But I remember thinking about how much I liked movies. I always liked movies. Mm-hmm. I always liked to read. And then I started looking around my dorm room, and all I had was like rap posters. I had no books. I had no movies. And I was like, man, I like books. I like movies. I'm like, man, maybe I should start like buying books and like buying movies. So then I was thinking about what she said about a screenplay. Like, maybe I should check out what one looks like. So I had $20. I hopped in my car, drove to Circuit City, and I walked around the DVD section, and I found like this Pulp Fiction, and I said, I like Pulp Fiction, and I picked it up, and it was a special edition, and it had a CD-ROM with the screenplay built into it. So it was like $17.99 or something. Like, it's perfect. I could buy this. Went back to the dorms, popped the CD-ROM in, and saw my first screenplay and it was like, I don't know, man. It was like I don't know. It reminded me of the first time I stepped on the football field and hit somebody. You know what I mean? I feel like I was at home. You know what I mean? So I looked at it and I opened up Microsoft Word, and I thought the formatting was kind of weird. So I started trying to like ape the formatting in Microsoft Word, and I started to write. Started to write my first screenplay. That night, and I stayed up till really late in the morning, and I started to do it every day. Like I'll find myself like leaving the weight room, like I gotta go back and get on that script, and I realized that I really love to do it, and that professor is like one of my closest friends. Wow. To this day.
Wow.
He then made a series of short films at film school that won prizes and demonstrated his talent, and gradually put together the funding and support to make Fruitvale Station. He's directed and produced ever since, scoring a massive international success with Black Panther, probably the most complicated Marvel movie ever made. And here's a short glimpse. If you're put off by superhero movies, this one might be worth a try for you.
I have seen gods fly. I've seen men build weapons that I couldn't even imagine. I've seen aliens drop from the sky.
Yeah.
But I have never seen anything like this. How much more are you hiding?
Hold up. Let's go.
We are home. My son, it is your time.
So there'll be lots to discuss, and I look forward to seeing you all on Monday, October the 26th at 8 p.m.